Blink and you'll miss it. Does flipping a switch really unleash electrons racing at light speed? Pop culture would have you think that, at your command, electricity bolts through your house at 300,000 kilometers per second, the cosmic velocity favored by sci-fi and over-enthusiastic physics teachers alike. Sorry to deflate the fantasy. Electrons zooming at light speed? Only if they're catching a ride on your Wi-Fi signal. Here's the real deal. Electrons aren't stunt drivers. Their drift speed in copper wire is more tortoise than hare, about a few millimeters per second, making your morning commute look like the Indy 500. So why does your lamp flicker on instantly? Because the signal, the electromagnetic wave, does race along at around 2/3 the speed of light, like a baton flying across a line of sluggish marathoners. Picture a packed nightclub. The DJ drops the beat, the signal, and the whole crowd feels the vibe, even if each dancer barely budges. So next time you flick that switch, give a nod to the synchronized electric conga line, not a stampede of electrons trying to break the sound barrier. While electricity moves at the speed of light, its dangers often depend on voltage levels. High voltage, two electrifying words that make even your Wi-Fi bar stand a little prouder. Yet some folks think all electricity is equally dangerous, like mistaking a static shock from your hoodie for a lightning bolt's knockout punch. Spoiler alert, size definitely matters. High voltage isn't your everyday zap. It means an electrical potential difference over 1,000 volts AC or 1,500 volts DC. When the volts dial cranks that high, the risks skyrocket too. Think savage jolts, nasty burns, or arc flashes big enough to give pyrotechnicians a run for their money, but definitely not your living room crew. Here's the real shocker. It's actually the electric current that fries you. High voltage? It's the unruly party host that tears down the barriers, making it way more likely you'll be the main event. And don't be fooled. High voltage can jump through air without even touching you. Utilities tame this beast to power our world, but it turns substations into strictly no TikTok stunt zones. Rubber flip-flops? Yeah, not gonna cut it. Solid gear and hawk-eyed respect for warning signs are your only friends here. Understanding why high voltage is so dangerous helps us zap misconceptions before they spark real trouble. Or worse, a viral tale of electrified misadventure. Understanding that high voltage is dangerous leads many to believe that protective gear like rubber-soled shoes can completely prevent shocks. Think your sneakers are your secret weapon against electrifying mishaps? Picture this. You're casually fixing a faulty lamp, feeling invincible in your high-tech rubber soles. Because everyone says sneakers protect you from a jolt, right? This myth has sprinted fast, probably fueled by the fact that rubber can block electricity. But here's the kicker. Those trendy soles aren't solid slabs of lab-grade rubber. Nope, most sneakers blend rubber with additives, dyes, and millions of daydreams about NBA contracts. Their soles? Often thin enough for a high-voltage zap to jump right through, leaving you less grounded and more electrified. Real electricians, those wise folks, don't rock Air Jordans on the job, for good reason. They wear boots with insulation thicker than your phone bill. Unless your kicks came from the Home Depot electrical aisle, don't bet your life on them. Sneakers are made for running, not moonlighting as PPE. If rubber soles really blocked shocks, electricians would be dunking and sparking in Nike commercials by now. Save your style points, because when it comes to electricity, the last thing you want is a shocking surprise. Although rubber-soled shoes can offer some protection, the size of electrical wiring also plays a critical role in electricity flow. Is your phone charging cable thicker than your thumb? You might be onto something, or just holding a mini garden hose. There's a popular myth floating around that thicker wires mean more power, like protein shakes for cables. This idea likely started as solid advice for chunky extension cords powering energy-hungry appliances. If it works for your fridge, why not your phone? Right? But here's the electrifying truth. Yes, thicker wires, lower gauge, do let more juice flow, but only up to what your device and voltage actually need. Think of electricity like water in a pipe. No matter how massive the pipe, if your faucet barely squeaks open, you're not flooding the Grand Canyon anytime soon. Go too thick, and you're paying extra, creating cable clutter and tripping over your own tech. Go too thin, and your charging speed makes tectonic shifts look swift. Or worse, you risk unintentionally starting a fire-themed hobby. So stick to cables that are just right. Luckily, regulations and handy color codes are there to keep wild cable guesswork and garden hose charging, strictly optional. While larger wires can carry more electricity, turning off appliances is often assumed to stop all electrical use. Ever felt like a superhero flipping your appliances off, convinced you're saving the world and your wallet? Every click feels like a thunderclap of victory. Appliances defeated, power consumption, 0. The myth is strong. Turn it off and poof, you're off the grid, right? Time to pop that well-insulated bubble. Most modern gadgets are masters of disguise. Off isn't retirement. It's just a coffee break. TVs, game consoles, phone chargers? Even on standby, they're glued to the plug but sneakily sipping electricity, politely dubbed phantom load, or, for the drama lovers, vampire power. Your television is about as convincing at sleeping as a toddler, lights out but wide awake. Add up those secret sips, and your bill takes a hit. Want real savings? Unplug when you're done or use a power strip to kill the current cold. Because your appliances? They much prefer resting their eyes. Ready to trade imaginary heroics for real savings? Let's pull the plug, literally. Despite turning appliances off seeming to halt electricity use, the way electricity is stored, such as in batteries, is a separate important concept. Ever wondered if you could just scoop up pure electricity and stash it in a battery like peanut butter in a jar? Picture yourself ladling lightning straight from the sky, then screwing the lid tight on your TROA. Tempting as all get out, but unless you've got rubber gloves and an exorcist on speed dial, best to leave those Duracells sealed up tight. Here's the real kicker, badum-tuss. Batteries aren't tiny lightning vaults. They don't hoard electricity like some high-voltage dragon guarding its treasure. Nope. What they actually do is stash chemical energy. Think of it as potential power, not actual volts chilling on ice. Inside the battery, a high-stakes chemical dance unfolds. Electrons glide from the anode, where they're feeling generous, to the cathode, where they're much in demand, waltzing through your circuit and sparking up your devices. Rechargeable batteries? They just hit rewind and get the dance floor ready for round 2. So forget bottling thunderstorms for profit. Batteries are more like granola bars for electrons, not electric water balloons primed to pop. And that, dear reader, is why your phone doesn't unleash sparks. Unless, of course, something's gone spectacularly sideways. Electricity storage in batteries differs greatly from phenomena like birds resting safely on power lines, which can seem almost magical. Ever wondered why birds are constantly chilling on power lines, looking like they're plotting world domination? Maybe you picture a feathery Illuminati summit, or, if you've binged too many cartoons, imagine these birds have some kind of magical electricity-proof superpowers. If birds really were wizards, Hogwarts would need a bigger janitorial staff and way fancier perches. But nope, the only magic here is the same force that eats your socks in the dryer: physics. Birds don't get zapped because they perch with both feet safely on the same wire. No voltage difference, no electric current, no poof. The moment a bird tries to reach for another wire or a grounded pole, the fairy tale crashes, sometimes literally, with a puff of smoke. Sorry, Tweety. High voltage races through those wires, but clever insulators and engineering wizardry keep most birds, and clumsy humans, out of trouble. Plus, utility companies install special bird guards just to be sure. Because seriously, fried chicken and live wire should stay punchlines in bad cartoons, not real-life headlines. Although birds can sit safely on power lines, it's a misconception that all power lines are insulated for safety. Ever notice how birds can lounge on power lines without spontaneously turning into fireworks? No capes or secret powers, just plain old nature and physics doing their thing. Here's a common myth. Folks think power lines are wrapped up all nice and snug, like a birthday gift. No shocks, no sweat, just a giant roll of electrical tape holding the grid together. Nope, not even close. The shocking truth, pun absolutely intended, most overhead power lines are just bare metal, strutting around like the tough guy of your neighborhood. Stronger than your phone screen, but about as cozy as a frozen pond. Why no insulation? Because wrapping high-voltage lines would weigh them down and jack up your electric bill so much it'd need its own zip code. So how do birds pull off this high-wire act? They're not wearing invisibility cloaks. They're just terrible at being grounded. No path to Earth means no zap. You're a walking shortcut. Touch a power line, and you'd be crispier than your phone after a botched update. Lesson learned. Power lines deserve respect and plenty of space. Birds may skip the rubber boots, But unless you want a glow-in-the-dark hairstyle, you definitely shouldn't. Even though not all power lines are insulated, many people believe that low voltage can't cause electric shocks. Ever stuck a 9-volt battery on your tongue and strutted off feeling like a superhero? Congrats! You've survived an initiation rite as ancient as boredom itself. Now, plenty of folks cling to the myth that only high voltage is dangerous, as if low voltage is the kiddie pool of the electrical realm. Sorry to pop that bubble. The low voltage can't safe voltage myth is almost as persistent as missing socks in the dryer. Let's get real, or at least get the facts straight. The shocking truth? Electrical danger depends less on voltage and more on current, amperage, the path it takes through your body, and how long it hangs around. So even the unassuming 120 Vi, or its beefier cousin, 230 Vi, lurking behind your outlets can be downright deadly under the right conditions. If volts are the villains, amps are their muscle. Literally. Just because a zap feels mild doesn't mean it's not scheming against your heart rhythm. Bottom line, your body isn't a potato battery experiment, and low voltage isn't a free pass to invulnerability. Electricity doesn't care how many science classes you aced. Treat it with respect, always. Aside from voltage concerns, it's commonly thought that electricity always takes the path of least resistance. Imagine electricity as a lazy tourist, always searching for the easiest route downtown. Feet kicked up, skipping side streets, eyes glued to the express train. Textbooks love this image. Electricity zips exclusively down the path of least resistance, like an energy snob turning up its nose at every less glamorous alley. But here's the real shocker. Electrons are actually social butterflies. They don't just crash the VIP lounge, they mingle everywhere, dividing their time among every path available. Sure, the easier roads get bigger crowds, but even the pothole-ridden back streets never go empty. It's less electrons on a mission and more electrons at an all-you-can-eat buffet, piling their plates according to how close the cheese is. Why does this myth keep running? Because it's easy to teach. Like telling folks water only gushes through the biggest crack in a dam. The truth? Current fans out, flowing down every route in proportion to its resistance. Like dessert grudgingly split among squabbling siblings. Ignore this, and electrical surprises might literally give you a shock. If electricity always took just the path of least resistance, we'd only need one giant copper pipe. And honestly, I kinda like having a job. So electricity turns out to be more democratic than despotic. The ultimate multitasker, even better than me trying to fold laundry while binge-watching Netflix. This belief leads to ideas about perfect insulators, such as wood, supposedly blocking all electrical flow. Ever been told that wrapping yourself in wood is the secret to staying toasty in winter? Unless you're a log cabin, you might want to rethink redecorating your wardrobe. It's a classic myth that wood is the ultimate winter shield, the parka of construction materials. If beavers' dams were thermal fortresses, those busy critters would be basking in Miami, not dodging snowflakes. Here's the skinny. Wood does insulate better than metals. Raise your hand if you've ever hugged a steel beam for warmth. Didn't think so, but it's no miracle worker. Heat loves to zigzag through wood that's dense, soggy, or grain-crossed. Soggy plywood? About as warm as a snowman's handshake. Modern insulators like foam and fiberglass leave wood eating their dust. Historically, wood teams up with plaster or insulation bats to nail that toasty, not tundra vibe. Wood's real magic? It's cellular air pockets, not some heroic thermal prowess. So, wood won't turn your living room into a thermos. But hey, at least you're not freezing in a steel box, or fashionably draped in plywood. Unless you're dodging your energy bill, in which case, suit up. While wood is thought to be a perfect insulator, many wonder if it's possible to directly feel the flow of electricity. Ever get that superhero vibe thinking you can feel electricity zipping invisibly through your walls? Like you're some kind of mutant with a sixth sense. Except instead of saving the world, you're just standing by the toaster going, "Yep, I can feel the current in here." Think of it as an audition for the X-Men, but with more frizz and less spandex. Here's the myth in all its glory. Those little tingles from electronic gadgets, the eerie bad vibes near the TV socket, or that zap from your laptop mean you're basically a walking amateur. Or so they say. Reality check. Your body only feels electricity when actual current runs through you. That is, when you're getting electrocuted, not showing off superhero skills. That tingling? Not ESP. It's just electricity rudely using your nerves as a shortcut. If humans really sensed watts through their skin, utility companies would be handing out mood rings, not meters. So what's really going on? Most likely static shocks, bad grounding, or a wonky appliance. If you think you're sensing electricity, skip the X-Men hotline and call a real electrician before your tingles turn into a full-blown light show. Even though some claim to feel electricity, concerns about old wiring causing house fires remain common. Picture your attic wiring looking like a bowl of antique spaghetti, seasoned generously with a dash of danger. It's tempting to assume old wiring's just biding its time, ready to turn your home into a bonfire, marshmallows optional. But hold that smoke alarm. Not all vintage wires are pyromaniacs. Knob and tube, cloth insulated, and aluminum wiring often top the most wanted lists during home inspections. Yet the real arsonists? Usually abuse and neglect. The wiring's bad habits, not its birth certificate. Here's the scoop. Fire risk isn't tied to your wire's age, but to their wild history. Overloaded circuits, cracked insulation, or that epic Uncle Bob quick fix fiasco. The silver lining? Upgrades like circuit breakers and GFCIs can tame even the wildest wiring without gutting your entire house. So if your wires recall the glory days of dial-up internet, don't panic. Just maybe don't let them run your air conditioner, and keep a licensed electrician on speed dial for regular checkups. In response to these dangers, many trust that house fuses and circuit breakers are foolproof safety devices. Ever treated your fuse box like a magic reset button after a blackout? Flip the switch, sigh dramatically, and voila! The lights return, like you've just zapped life into a grumpy toaster with a pretend wand. Many folks put blind faith in fuses and circuit breakers, those tireless guardians of the electrical realm, believing they make everything foolproof. But if they were truly foolproof, my uncle wouldn't have tried fixing the fridge with a fork. He survived. But sadly, the fork did not. Sure, fuses and breakers save the day by cutting power when things get too hot, literally halting wires from staging an impromptu bonfire. Yet calling them foolproof? Let's not kid ourselves. They only trip on certain overloads. Dodgy wiring and sly device defects can waltz right past their defenses. And don't expect them to stop every shock hazard either. Think seatbelts, not airbags. Install them properly, upgrade to GFCIs, and they'll be your electrical heroes. But remember, even the best breaker can't protect you from, well, kitchen forks and other acts of brilliance. Skepticism about electrical safety often fuels beliefs in free energy devices that supposedly can power your home inexpensively. Imagine never paying another electric bill. Not because you live in a tent, but because you've uncovered a magical gadget tucked away in your garage. To many, the idea of free energy is downright irresistible. Whispers abound about mysterious boxes that whirl, buzz, and blink, promising to erase your utility bills faster than you can say, "Liar, liar, pants on fire." After all, who wouldn't want Bigfoot's secret for off-grid living? If free energy were real, he'd have it powering his log cabin by now. Time to pop this balloon with a dose of scientific reality. The second law of thermodynamics, not exactly the life of the party, declares energy can't just appear out of thin air. Through the ages, hopeful inventors have peddled over-unity contraptions, fancy jargon for physics-defying pipe dreams, and magical coils, claiming infinite power without a sweat. Spoiler alert, no peer-reviewed research has given these claims the time of day. The only thing perpetual about these machines? Their owner's endless spin, and sometimes the wheels. As charming as free power sounds, until my fridge starts running on unicorn tears, I'll stick to paying the grid and leave the magic to fairy tales. Similarly, misconceptions extend to modern devices, such as the idea that LED bulbs use no electricity when switched off. Ever wonder if your LED bulbs moonlight as energy vampires when you flip the switch off? Picture them twerking for the electric company under cover of darkness, racking up your bill while you snooze. The comforting myth: once an LED is off, it uses zero power. Case closed. But let's unscrew that idea. Reality check. Some modern LED fixtures aren't just bulbs. They're part-time tech wizards, sipping a tiny sliver of electricity to keep their smart features alive. Think Wi-Fi connectivity or remote control standby. This trickle, dubbed phantom or vampire load, isn't monstrous, but it's definitely more than a ghost of nothing. Your classic non-smart LED? Innocent as a power mule. But those smart bulbs? Let's just say if your power bill creeps up, it's not because your bulbs are throwing silent raves. It's their brains still wide awake. So if your home is a smart light disco, these micro-sips can add up. Counting every electron? Stick to regular LEDs or pull the plug on unnecessary bulbs. Or just embrace that your bulbs might be texting your Wi-Fi at midnight. Because hey, even light bulbs need a social life.